Massachusetts, and Abby's got a story to tell.
Yeah, we'll all remember Abby Cooper from the Rio Olympics in the prelim of the 5,000. She collided with Nikki Hamlin from New Zealand. They helped each other up and get each other to get back up and get back in the race and finish the race. It was such a great sportsmanship. It was something for all of us to cheer for. Afterwards, Cooper realized just how injured she was. She had to be in a wheelchair taken off of the track. She found out she tore her ACL and her meniscus and had to undergo surgery to repair that.
Don't get confused by the name either. She was Abby D'Agostino.
Yes, she got married in the meantime.
Just an amazing display of sportsmanship.
It really was.
Heat one of the women's 5,000 meters. The top five is the magic number here, go through to the semi-finals, and then the next 6 best times will also advance at the conclusion of the second heat coming up right after this.
You know, based on personal best, the second heat is a little bit heavier than this one. So I feel like the women in this race really need to make sure they get in that top 5 because there's a good possibility the second heat might be faster.
Now, if you were with us a little earlier for the women's 1,500, it won't come as any surprise that some athletes who were meant to be in this 5,000 meters, but who have scratched, Ellie Puria St. Pierre, and also Sarah Lancaster. They both went through to the semis in the 1,500, so there's no point in doing the 5,000, right? They're not going to do that
right.
double.
It's just sort of a tactical move to enter both, and once they both got through in that first heat of the 1,500, they're going to focus on that, so they scratch out of this.
Erica Kemp, the 26-year-old, an All-American from NC State, leads the way early in this first heat of the 5,000. There's Abby Cooper sitting in second.
Abby Cooper's had a long road back from that injury and from those surgeries, but she's really been enjoying her running this year. She's been really grateful. She ran here at the Oregon Relays and ran a good, solid race there, so she's ready to be back and compete for another spot on an Olympic team.
There are 2 in the field who have already met the Olympic qualifying time, by the way. That's Rachel Schneider and Ali Bukowski. So they have already met that mark. And if you're interested in what that mark is, the Tokyo Olympic standard qualifying time is 15:10 flat. 15 minutes, 10 flat.
And we see Ali Bukowski there in the yellow. She was recently featured in People magazine talking about how she started to work with a sports psychologist over the pandemic to really refine the joy in her running. She was suffering from imposter syndrome, which to us seems crazy. She's run 14:57, but sometimes at that level, when you make that step from collegiate to professional ranks, it's tough. And so she's been working with a sports psychologist, and she knows she belongs here. She has just as good a chance of anyone as making that team to Tokyo.
What do you think gets you over that self-belief hump, that self-belief hurdle?
You know, I think it's really believing in yourself, looking at your results. You know, she deserves to be here. I think a lot of athletes have suffered from that, you know, especially as you go from high school to college to professional. And you just have to see everyone around you is human. They all had to make the same steps that you're making. And, you know, it really shows in her. She came out this year and ran a huge personal best to run 14:57. And now she is comfortable. She knows she belongs here. She deserves to be here.
Abby Cooper, number 10, sitting second there, the 2-time NCAA champion. We've been talking a lot about NCAA champs, given the fact that they were here last weekend at Hayward Field, where she ran for Dartmouth years ago. And just well placed nice and early.
They're coming through in 3:06 here, so this really isn't too challenging for these women. You know, this is what's interesting, I think, about the prelim is that the top dogs kind of want to get through it as easy as possible, and the people that are on the bubble have to run a little bit of a harder race to get through. So they're just kind of rolling along now, waiting, biding their time. That this is the pace that's comfortable for all of them to be running.
Speaking of pace, Kara, that 15:10 flat that I mentioned is the Tokyo Olympic qualifying time, the standard that must be met. That's a 4:53 mile pace.
Yes, it's quick, but they're all capable of doing that. That's a time that has been hit year after year by our Olympic qualifiers. So we have two women in this race who have already achieved that. But, you know, if these other women want to make Team USA, they're going to have to get it in either the prelim or the final.
One athlete in the mix is Dana Giordano, the 27-year-old from New Jersey, who has quite the story to tell. When Dana was a teenager, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And as you can see, she is a survivor. She is resilient. It occurred when she was just 14 years old.
Absolutely, she's a survivor. And, you know, she used to be ashamed of her scar, but now it's sort of a badge of honor. It has empowered her to have people see it when she's running and racing. And she's truly an inspiration and one tough person. She's been running really well this year. They've settled down a little bit in the pace. They're not running very aggressively. They've kind of settled in. And this will be interesting to see if over the second kilometer, third kilometer, fourth kilometer, if they sort of drive it down or if they just sit here and keep it comfortable and wait for a kick.
Erica Kemp continues to be out in front until that moment right there where Abby Cooper now takes the lead for the first time. Somebody other than Erica Kemp.
This is a pace that's very comfortable for Abby Cooper, and I'm wondering if she just wants to keep the pace honest and make sure that they're running a good time and maybe make some separation in the pack. You know, sometimes you want to separate what people will say the pretenders from the contenders. So I feel like she's kind of trying to string this out and maybe get away, splinter the pack a little bit and narrow that front pack down.
Taylor Werner, the 23-year-old, number 7 there on your left. She started to advance a couple of positions. There's Taylor. Remember, top 5 is where you want to be at the conclusion of this heat. There's Rachel Schneider, number 12, orange top, black bottom, just hanging in there mid-pack.
So that was their quickest lap so far. So Cooper has definitely injected a little pace here. And you see Rachel Schneider said, oh, I need to get up there. I need to respond to that. They dropped down about 3 seconds on that last lap. And she realizes that, you know, this could potentially start to separate. So she knew she needed to get up there and get back on that lead pack.
Rachel's one of those athletes that can run at multiple distances, whether it be this, the 5,000. She can run 1,500. She can run the 10K. So it's Abby Cooper who leads the way at a pace that looks pretty comfortable for her, en route to guiding her way through to the final. We'll see. Back in a moment for the conclusion of Heat 1.
Of an hour, your savings will tower over you, figuratively speaking. But that's not catchy, is it? That's not going to swim about in your brain. So I thought, what about 15 minutes, 15%? Serendipity.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hey, football fans, Peyton and Cooper Manning here. If you like watching rival colleges going head-to-head,
join us for our new show, Capital One College Bowl.
Your 2-minute drill starts now.
Tuesday.
We got a ball game here, Cook.
Yeah! Prepare
UCLA, fight, fight, fight!
to get schooled.
Patella, Mexico.
Van Gogh.
24th Amendment.
Confucius.
Absolute zero.
Absolute zero is correct, which is what Cooper brings to this show.
Capital One College Bowl, hosted by Peyton Manning, premieres Tuesday on NBC.
Welcome to NBC Sports Edge, your one stop for everything fantasy, DFS, and more. Get up-to-date news and insights from our award-winning analysts. Want to play with confidence? NBC Sports Edge Plus helps you level up with an array of premium tools and resources keeping you ahead of the pack. Learn more at NBCSportsEdge.com.
You rejoin us with just 5 laps to go in the opening heat of the women's 5,000 meters. Abby Cooper has opened up, as you saw there, in non-stop. That Abby has opened up a substantial lead over Erica Kemp.
She really has. You know, while we were gone, she dropped a 70-second lap, a 71-second lap, and she's really pulling away here. It's interesting to see her do this because clearly she's in the top 5 of this field, but she is going out here and pushing herself to run a faster time. I'm focusing on this second pack, and I have to say, Rachel Schneider and Ali Buchalski look so comfortable. Like they're just effortless out there. There's no straining. Their bodies are so relaxed. And so I think they're looking pretty good for the second pack. But really, Abby Cooper is just dominating this prelim.
Those who qualify for the final, which is on Monday night, by the way, have the weekend to recover.
Yes, then those 2 days are great. You know, you just ice the legs, put them up, jog a little. But really, you know, you're just resting. There's no fitness to be gained between tonight and Monday.
This is Abby Cooper with 4 to go.
This is quite a run by Abby. I'm surprised to see her push like this, but maybe she just wants to make sure she gets through free and clear, make sure she's not wondering about the time, using it as a last workout. I'm not sure, but she just ran a 72.6, and her lead seems to be growing.
Sure is. Erica Kemp is still holding on to second for the time being. Look at that gap that Cooper boasts over Kemp in blue. Ali Bukowski remains in third. And then Rachel Schneider is there. By the way, Rachel Schneider's fiance is Coach Smith, Mike Smith, who coaches Galen Rupp. And you'll see Galen a little later tonight in the final of the men's 10,000 meters. So not only men's shot put has the final, but the men's 10,000, determining which 3 will go to Tokyo.
You know, we've seen a couple other women here now regroup this lead group, which is interesting to see. They're slowing down quite a bit. We see Carrie Verdon getting on the back there, and Maddie Alm has gotten into the middle of it. But you know what? Abby Cooper needs the Olympic standard. So I think that's why she's going for it. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out, but that is what she's doing. She feels good. She thinks the weather's right. She feels like this is a good opportunity. I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to try to get under that Olympic standard of 15:10.
3 to go for Abby Cooper, with a goal on her mind, a mission on her mind. She wants to get back to another Olympics. She was in Rio. It didn't quite go the way that she'd hoped.
She just ran another 72.8. She is holding that pace of 4:53 that she needs to run. This is really something. I mean, this is pretty gutsy to go out there and put a target on your back and just go for that Olympic standard by yourself.
Watch the clock at the bottom right, 12:10, 12:11. The number you're watching for is 15:10.00. Abby needs to be below that to meet the Olympic standard.
Yeah, she looks pretty good. I have to say, I was wondering, what is she doing out there? But this seems like this might be a great attempt for her to get that out of the way. Then when she gets to the final, she can just focus on running. She can just focus on racing and being in that top 3 to be named to Team USA.
Well, there's one thing training alone. How about running out front alone when you are nowhere near the rest of the field and you have got this very definitive figure that you've got to beat?
This is so hard, and they started a little slow, so what Abby's doing right now is so difficult to do, but she's just going for it. It's so hard to go. She has 2 to go here. She's looking good and confident. She just ran a little bit faster on that lap, running 71.4 all by herself. I mean, this is quite a performance from Abby Cooper right now.
The crowd here at Hayward know what the mission is for Abby Cooper, because only 2 other athletes in this race have already met the Olympic standard. That's Rachel Schneider and Ali Bukowski. So they're not thinking about that. It's a different mission here for Abby Cooper.
Abby needs a 2:22 to get through and get that time in her last 800. Can she do it? She's going to have to pick it up quite a bit in this last 600 meters. She needs to squeeze it down, not do anything drastic. She's gone herself this far. She just needs to squeeze it down on this last 500 meters. This is really something. You can see it on her face. She wants this. She saw the opportunity, and she went to seize it. We'll see what she's at with 400 to go. We'll know what she'll need for the last quarter, but it's definitely within her reach.
There's the bell. Listen to the crowd. Give her the juice.
She basically needs a 70-second lap right now to get this time, and the crowd knows what's happening. She just ran a 70. She needs another one. The crowd knows what's happening. They are cheering her on to get this Olympic standard.
15:10.00. She has to be below that to meet that Olympic standard.
This is such a gutsy performance. I'm so excited for Abby Cooper right now. She's got everyone on their feet. Everyone is watching. They want to see if she can do this. We'll see where she's at with 200 to go. It looks like she's going to need a 35, which is totally in her capability, and she's going to the arms now to kick for home.
She's in the final turn. This crowd here in Oregon are going to will her home. Is it achievable? I think it is. Remember, the time is 15:10 flat. She's just got to be below that, and she'll meet that Olympic standard. Here comes 29-year-old Abby Cooper. She's going to do it. She's met the Olympic standard. And the crowd love it and acknowledge that athletic excellence. Rachel Schneider, who has also met the Olympic standard already, she'll come home second. But what a gutsy performance from Abby Cooper.
With the last lap of 69.1, Abby Cooper runs well under that Olympic standard, doing it all by herself. No rabbits, no pacemakers, just sheer determination and grit. She went out there and made that happen for herself, and she is so happy about it.
Happy through exhaustion. Well done, Abby Cooper. That was awesome, and she did it all alone. Now, she did sit behind Erica Kemp for the opening stanza of this race, but there was a point in time where she said, okay, I've got to go for it.
Yeah, right here, she looks up, she says, I'm feeling good and I have an opportunity, and if I'm going to get this done, I have to go now. And she went with such authority, and it was such a quick change in pace. You know, she dropped it down from 76 to 73 right away. Then she started to get in a rhythm, and she just started to chip away at that Olympic standard as she went around. And here down the home stretch, she can see it. She can see that clock. She knows she's close. She's getting everything she can. And she's trying to lift her knees and pump her arms and just get there. She looks so great running down the track to big standard mark. Now she'll need to finish in the top 3 in the final to go on to the Olympic Games.
But she's got the weekend to rest and recover from that. What a run. What a performance.
That's amazing. We don't see that in a prelim very often.
Step 1 done. Olympic standard met, and in the top 5, of course, in the heat. She's through to the final, and she's got that Olympic qualifying standard time under her belt now, has Abby Cooper. And so too, Rachel. That sounds familiar, but maybe not from 5,000-meter track running. Well, let's take you back down memory road in this flashback to Rio 2016. Yes, in the triathlon, Gwen won Olympic gold. And we probably should say that her strongest leg was the run leg.
Yeah, absolutely. That final 10K is where she dominated. She was just the greatest triathlete in the world. And see all that emotion. She accomplished a dream she had had 4 years earlier. She was hoping to win in London, but she got it done in Rio.
First American to win Olympic triathlon gold. So she has transitioned away from tries to the track.
You know, running is her first love. That's what she loves. She's passionate about it. She's loved training with the Bowerman Track Club. We'll see many of them in this heat. She has just embraced the running lifestyle. That was always her first love, and she decided to go back to it.
Okay, ladies, back up and show a green card, please. Ladies, can't start the race until we're perfectly still, okay?
Just a little nerves bopping. Just a little nerves there.
All your marks.
That was Lauren Paquette that was just showing the green flag there, the green card. But we're away. Second heat of the women's 5,000 meters. And let's see what kind of complexion this race has in comparison to the last.
You know, this race has so many really fast runners with a lot of fast PBs, like personal best. This is definitely the better of the 2 heats, but I don't know, after seeing that run out of Abby Cooper, I don't know if we'll see something that fast. But this is where you see a lot of the Bowerman Track Club singlets. This is an event that they kind of hope they might be able to sweep in the final, with Carissa Schweitzer, Vanessa Frazier, and Elise Cranny, who's really emerged in the last year as one of the best, if not the best, middle distance runners in America. And of course, Gwen Jorgensen also represents the Bowerman Track Club.
There's Kellen Taylor in the orange top, white cap. In the last heat, Olympic qualifying standard was a real big topic with Abby Cooper. In this one, it's worth noting that Josette Norris, Carissa Schweitzer, Elise Cranny, Gwen Jorgensen, and Nessa Fraser have already got that Olympic standard done. So
yes,
that's not on their minds right now.
It's not on their minds. We have a lot of very fast women in this heat who have just been running really fast this year. We've seen a lot of breakout performances this year. We've seen it with Elise Cranny really coming through in the 10,000 meters earlier in this year. And Josette Norris, who went from a personal best of 15:29 at the beginning of the year, she enters this with a personal best of 14:51. And she's been showing great form over the 1500 as well. She's lowered her PB there. She won the Drake Relays, and so she's really been running well. And here we see Elise Cranny. You know, her coach, Shalane Flanagan, told me she has had the most growth through the pandemic for their entire squad. And they have a huge squad, just an excellent team training in Oregon together under Jerry Schumacher and Shalane Flanagan and Pascal Daubert. And she said Elise is the one. Elise Cranny has shown the most growth. She was a high school phenom. She struggled a little bit in college, but she has found her form and has really progressed in the last year.
The three Bowerman women at the back, but no problem. Long way to go. Carissa Schweitzer there already moves up one position. Gwen Jorgensen in the red bottoms there, and then Elise Cranny, as Cara was talking about. Up front, it is Lauren Paquette, the 34-year-old from Little Rock, Arkansas at the moment. But let's talk about places with Lauren, because after 6 years of training on her own in Memphis, that's where her husband Max is an associate professor of biomechanics at the University of Memphis. She decided she needed some more training partners, so she's decided to head off to Flagstaff, Arizona, where she trains. So at the moment, they're doing a long-distance marriage.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's working for them. Lauren's been running really well, and she gets to train with so many great women. She gets to train with Kellen Taylor, Stephanie Bruce. She gets to train with Alfie Tolomuk, who made the Olympic team by winning the marathon trials. So if she wanted a team, she got a great one to train with.
There's Kellen Taylor with the white cap on, mid-pack right there, running fourth, in fact, at the moment. Kellen was hopeful of making Tokyo via the marathon.
They're all trying to get through as easy as possible. They don't want to expend very much energy. They want to get through. We see Gisette Norris in third. She's had a great kick this year. She feels confident in that. But it is interesting to see all the Bowerman Track Club singlets. You think this is kind of like a practice for them, right? This is how they run on a daily basis. So that's comforting when you have a teammate in a heat with you or in a competition with you. It's comforting to look around and see people that you train with on a daily basis.
Familiarity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, they're running decently here, but they're not doing anything crazy. And so far, they're going to be slower than that first heat, which is surprising to me because I thought this would be the faster of the two heats. But Abby Cooper took that one and changed the narrative quite a bit. And we see Gwen Jorgensen on the back of that pack. And, it's been fun to follow her journey in running. At first she thought she really wanted to go for it in the marathon. And then she realized, I have quite a bit of speed in the 5,000 and the 10,000. So she focused more on that. She's loved being a part of Bowerman Track Club, and she's loved being a part of the running scene.
Lots happening on the infield as well, while this second heat of the women's 5,000 continues.
In Tokyo, if she can make it through the trials.
Yeah, and when we talked to her, that 2016 experience, she was just happy to be there. She found herself in this unfamiliar position on the biggest stage in the world in fourth place, and now she has a change of scenery, a new coach, and a new confidence.
As the women come down the main straightaway, Orji does as well for her first attempt. And we'll get that mark to you shortly, Lee, as action continues both in the field and on the track in this three-ring circus of track and field.
On a phenomenal opening day here in Oregon. We're going to duck away for a quick break. You won't miss a thing, though, in our non-stop action.
This year has been a road of challenges to overcome.
But if it didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be as strong as I am right now. Mentally, physically.
I was able to fall back in love with the sport.
Bike spin. Lots of hurdles. Squats. Lots of drills. Kettlebell. Workouts. Every single day, day in and day out.
It's a lot of hard work and is just as much mental as physical.
Once your mind and body come together, you can be unstoppable.
Everybody goes through adversity. Everybody goes through hardships. But what do you do about it?
She is, man.
Hey, Mike.
I was thinking if you want to go to the school dance with me.
Yeah, totally.
Experience the moment from anywhere. Toyota. Start your impossible.
Dominic Toretto. You coming?
Queenie, my brother's about to hurt a lot of people. We're gonna have to stop it.
Well, I'm not the only one with a family full of eccentrics. Get the e-brake for me, would you, darling?
So much for granny shifting.
Rated PG-13. In the semifinals, it doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any friendlier. It doesn't get any quieter. It just keeps getting bigger. Islanders, Lightning, Canadiens, Golden Knights. There's nothing like playoff hockey.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue on USA and streaming on Peacock.
You rejoin us live here from Hayward Field, Lee Diffie-Kara Goucher, and 5.5 laps to go in this second heat of the women's 5,000 meters. It is the 34-year-old from Arkansas, Lauren Paquette, who leads the way. This is her third Olympic trials, and she would really like to make it through not only to the final, but to Tokyo. Hip number 8. She's running in her first Olympic trials. What's that like?
It's nerve-wracking, but, you know, she's run really fast, and I think she's grateful to be here. She had some major surgeries in the last year. She had to come back from that, and she's been finding fitness each week. Her coach, Lane Flanagan, told me that each week she's progressed so much, and she's a really gritty runner. She loves to leave it all out on the track at practice, and it looks like she's positioned herself well to be ready to go now at the Olympic trials.
So 3 laps to go. Those injuries, by the way, weren't, not that any injury is enjoyable, but bone spurs and Achilles injuries, that's what Vanessa Fraser has come back from. Carissa Schweitzer is well placed in third. Josette Norris in the navy blue top right there, blue and red top, sits fourth. Top 5 go through to Monday night's final.
It will be interesting to see if these women decide to kick. You know, I think they're all through safely on time, and so will they just ride it out, or will they kick for position? I do like the look of Elise Cranny. She looks so comfortable and relaxed as she's run here, and same with Josette Norris with hip number 4. I mean, to be honest, most of these women look just very relaxed. This is a pace they can handle. They're tapered, they're rested, and they're here to just get the job done and advance to the final.
Groundswell of momentum and support for Elise Cranny, even though she's just sitting cool there mid-pack. Is this hers to lose on Monday night, in your opinion?
You know, I think that she is a gem that's going to take people by surprise. If we're just looking on paper, Carissa Schweitzer should win this. And Carissa Schweitzer is an amazing athlete who stepped out and ran 15 minutes for her first race this year. But what I hear from the little birds is that Cranny is really next level, scary fit, and we expect to see big things from her in the final of this 5,000 as long as she gets through, and the 10,000 as well.
22-year-old Ellie Hennis is in there. We haven't mentioned Ellie yet, from Cary, North Carolina, beautiful part of the world. She's sitting 5th at the moment. Just moved ahead of Elise Cranny. There she is right there, side by side with Elise.
And she just won the NCAA championship just last week. And also her mother won that same race years earlier. So what a story there, following in her mother's footsteps. And she also looks good and controlled and relaxed. This lead pack looks like a very strong group of women.
And we are getting very close to that all-important final lap here at Hayward Field. Carissa Schweitzer now just very meticulously has made her way position by position closer.
They're all starting to move up. They want to protect their positions. They want to make sure they get through on that qualifying time or those qualifying places. And so Lauren Paquette, who has led this entire race, now sees the challenge from Carissa Schweitzer.
Here we go. Final lap in the second heat of the women's 5,000.
They've been running along pretty evenly here. They've been running 76s the last few laps. This looks like this whole lead pack will be fast enough to qualify through. But look at this visual of 4 women that trained together, all together here with just a little over 200 meters to go.
Josette Norris on the outside. She wants to be in the mix. She goes side by side with Karissa Schweitzer. Now here is Elise Cranny coming into the mix. Paquette's been dropped, who set the pace the whole time. She's going out the back.
We see in the front good kickers. Karissa Schweitzer, Josette Norris has kicked her way to victory multiple times this year. And of course, Elise Cranny, who ran a 4:02, 1,500 meters the other day, closing in 60 seconds.
Let's not discount Gwen Jorgensen either. She's just off the back of that pack. She might be a bit far back. And looking around, Josette Norris, she looks pretty cool. Here is the NCAA champ. In Hennis, she's in there. Cranny and Schweitzer, they'll come across as a quad pack, as a foursome, as they get there. And then Vanessa Fraser will be 5th. So those 5 women qualify simply by their position for Monday night's final of the women's 5,000 meters to determine which 3 will go to Tokyo.
You know, that we just got a little preview of the final there, because that last lap was 67.7 and they all looked effortless. So I think once things are charging, it's going to be amazing. Here you see everyone stretching out. Everyone looks so calm. Look at their faces. They're looking around. They're making sure they don't need to kick more. This is going to be an exciting final. They all look like they're floating in. It's really impressive. Even Hennis, like, she looks experienced. I know she just won the NCAAs, but she looks like she belongs there and she knows what she's doing. That was a great last lap, and they all look super in control at that pace.
Pretty well-constructed race from Josette Norris as well. She was the one looking around. She was looking on the inside. Then she took a look up at the big screen here at Hayward just to see where everybody was. Vanessa Fraser, she now knows she's going through to the final in her first Olympic trials. All right, shot put is cranking up. There are your finishers in the second heat. And who goes through with a Q next to their name